Hey guys, what's up? Commando here, and welcome to my NXT TakeOver Fatal 4-Way review. I know this is a little bit late. I know you were thinking, oh, that is so 2 days ago. But I didn't get watched till today, Saturday. I've had a lot of wrestling I watched today. I had SmackDown, Superstars, which were both quite good, and then all of NXT pre-shows and Fallout. So I've had like 6 hours to watch. But I got there in the end. It was really NXT TakeOver was really good. But I'm going to give a little review, maybe talk about some other stuff later. But it was a really good show, and if you haven't seen it, you better get it. And it's only $9.99 on the WWE Network. But first match was Sin Cara and Kalisto versus the Ascension for the NXT Tag Team titles, and it started off pretty slow, you know, wear them down sort of stuff, but then after a while it got really good and action packed, and Sin Cara and Kalisto eventually won it. I by the way, I knew like the results or most of the results before watching it, but it was still really good. But Sin Cara and Kalisto eventually won. It was really good, and they're now calling themselves what do you call it? The Lucha Dragons? Yeah, Lucha Dragons, that's what it said. It says they screwed up an infrared or something in the review recap thing here or something. I don't know what that is. But it was a decent match, and I really enjoy Sin Cara and Kalisto. Lucha. Really like them. It's good to see somebody finally beat the Ascension. It was good to see the Ascension on main event as well. I don't know what it was, probably because it was like NXT and I love NXT. But I got goosebumps when they were coming out for their match on main event. It was awesome to see. Anyways, after that they did like a thing for 9/11 where like Tom Phillips sent his condolences or whatever to that, like the 9/11 tragedy things. So sort of a good thing to see. But then there was like video packs and stuff in between most of the matches. Like there was an Agent Neville one, but then next, which really kind of surprised me, was Baron Corbin. So I made like a re-debut type of thing, but he didn't even have an entrance. He didn't get an entrance. I thought it was going to be CJ Parker like winning a squash match or something like. But I mean, I knew the result, but like the way it went down, you would think, oh, this guy has no chance of winning. But he won in like less than a minute, and it was amazing. He punched CJ Park in the face. It looked like he legit hit him in the face. It was a sick shot, and then he picked him up for this variation of like a downward spiral. But he did it with like one arm, and he had him in mid-air. It's kind of hard to explain. Just look it up. But it was really awesome. I was like, damn! It was so cool. It was an awesome debut, and hopefully they like do some good stuff with him. I thought, like, I seen Twitter and I seen Corey Graves saying something about him, and it, like the way he was like what was said, it seemed I thought he was going to be with him or something, because he's gotten a concussion or something lately. And they've been looking for a different role, so I thought maybe he was going to be his manager or something, but I don't know. I think he said something like, we're coming or something. I don't remember. I don't really remember. Then after that there was a video pack for Tyson Kidd. Then it was the hair versus hair match with my favourites, Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy, and they defeated Sylvester Lefort and Marcus Louis. Of course, Enzo had an amazing promo before the match, as always. It's Enzo. This always happens. Colin Cassidy too. I love them guys. But eventually, Enzo won. It was an alright match. Nothing, you know, like amazing or whatever. But it was decent. Eventually, Enzo won, and like Sylvester like ran away. They were trying to get him up to the chair, but then like Marcus came in and stopped him, and then Sylvester ran away. And then they dumped the cream stuff onto his head, and then he ran away. He ran away with all this cream all over him. Like if you didn't see that thing with, oh my god, it was hilarious. The segment with Enzo, Colin Cassidy in this hair like place, it was brilliant. It was just absolutely hilarious. You need to see. I've seen it like 3 or 4 times now, and it's still funny. It's just so good. But anyways, next there was like a video pack for Prince Pretty, Tyler Breeze. The next was a really good moment. William Regal came out. It was supposed to be Ric Flair, but he didn't make it for personal reasons or something. And he introduced Kenta to the NXT universe. And he's like said some stuff, like in English and Japanese. And he said that his new name is Hideo Itami. Apparently something to do with his mentor or hero or something. But he said he wanted, I think he said he wanted to be, yeah, he said he wants to be the next NXT champion. But then the Ascension like came out and sort of like beat him up a little bit, threw him out the ring, and the Ascension said they want the rematch. And then there was an awesome moment. He came back in and just like staring him down, and the crowd was just loving it. And he like beat them both up, and then he got a chair and sat in the ring, and then he was going like this. It was just an awesome moment. Like, it was so good. Really good way to introduce him, and he debuts at the next week. Cause I've seen like some of the spoilers. I didn't read them all. I just sort of flicked through it, and I've seen that he's got a few matches. Like his first one's with Justin Gabriel, and he's got matches with Victor and Connor. And they're feuding and they attack each other and stuff. I don't really know, but it should be good. Next match was Bull Dempsey versus Mojo Rawley. Not a fan of Mojo Rawley, to be honest. I just think his moveset is kind of shit, to be quite honest. The whole get hyped thing, it amazes me that the crowd are still behind it, especially given who the main guys on the crowd are. Like, they're all mostly adults. He still gets a somewhat decent reaction, but I could see him turning heel because he did like this video thing. It was pretty terrible, actually. This .com exclusive thing, and he had like a cut on his face after the match or something, and then he said like, "I stay hyped," like he was screaming it like a ferret. He said it like 3 times within 30 seconds, and he was saying some other stuff too, like, "Oh, you think I've never seen blood before," or something. I'm not a fan, to be honest. It's the moveset and the gimmick. I'm just not a fan of it, to be honest. But Bull Dempsey beat him pretty quickly. The guy said he's not Brock Lesnar. Like, he's saying he ground. Oh god, my thing's going off. Follow the buzzards. But he won eventually with a diving headbutt. Oh yeah, it was less than a minute. Damn. But he won his down headbutt thing. Then after the match, he got up on top rope and did it again. Nothing really, special there. Bull's, I guess that's his new finisher, the diving headbutt thing, instead of that body slam thing that he was doing before. But then next there was a backstage segment thing. Enzo and Colin were looking for the Legionnaires, and they found him, and they got Louis, and they carried him into the arena like he had a towel over his head before it ran away, and then they pulled it off, and he's got like no eyebrows, and he's got like patches of hair. Obviously, I doubt that cream legit did that to him. They probably just shaved it. I don't know how they did the thing with the dog. I really don't know how they went about that, but there's no way that cream would have been that lethal. What's this? Oh yeah, the guy says there was like a little mini Titantron thing on one side of the ring. I noticed that too. I thought it was pretty cool. But the next match, I believe, the guys in the recap here saying his feed went off, but I'm pretty sure it's Charlotte versus Bayley is the next match. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. This was a really good match as well, considering the divas, but it's NXT, so it's they're allowed to wrestle. Vince doesn't allow them to wrestle on the main roster. But it was a really good match. I like Bayley's entrance. She had this weird sort of like streamer things attached to her arm. It was pretty cool. It was a really good match. The fans are really behind Bayley, and there was some good moments. There was a awesome, well, the guys saying it was a Frankenstein, I don't know, Hurricane Rana was what I was going with, off the top rope. That was really cool. But eventually it won with Charlotte. She went for this moonsault. Oh yeah, she went for this moonsault. She did it good, but the way she landed, it was just like this really safe unhurting moonsault, which I mean is good, but you know, it just didn't look like it even hurt at all. She, like, just the way she landed, just landed it perfectly, and it didn't look like it hurt at all. But then she like got up and hit they're calling it the natural selection, which is her flipping, like her jumping, flipping RKO thing. The guy says it was good, but not nearly as good as the Natty match, but good nonetheless. It was alright. I think this one was more action and less, you know, submissions and stuff like the match with Natalya. But then after the match, like, Sasha Banks came out and she like attacked Bayley, and then Charlotte sort of got pissed and like pulled her away from her. She like now respects Bayley or something. So like the match is like Charlotte. She seems like she's a face, and then once they go back to NXT TV, like she's a heel again. It's kind of weird. The same on the Fallout show. She came out and she was like, she respected her, but then she was telling her like shut up at the same time. It's really weird. Next there was like a video pack for Sami Zayn, and then there was a thing saying that Hideo Itami will wrestle, and then it said the guy says, I guess Lafort will not get his tonight. But the next one, the final one, was a really good match. Adrian Neville retained the title, defeating Tyson Kidd, Tyler Breeze, and Sami Zayn. Really good match, loads of good moments. Some of the crowds chanting at Tyson Kidd. They were chanting Natty's wife at him, which I thought was pretty funny. At one point, Sami Zayn took a selfie thing of his phone, and he threw it, and it landed in the ring. And then when the ref like went to, he slid it, and it went flying right out the ring. And when it hit the floor, the crowd was like, it was pretty funny. But it was a really good match. Just trying to see if I can remember the moments. There was like, oh yeah, they did like a double suplexes, Tyson Kidd and Tyler Breeze to Zayn on the ramp, and Neville on the stage, which Tom Phillips called steel, even though it looks like plastic or something. But okay. There was some really awesome moments, like Tyler Breeze had like a series of like a super kick, the beauty shot, I think he calls it, or the money shot, and the drop kick to like everybody. Sami Zayn had a heap of good moments. They all had awesome moments, which is really good to see. They got like there was a huge superplex double, like Tyler Breeze, Sami Zayn was going for the superplex on Neville, and then Zayn like came in and did like the powerbomb thing, like I think it's called a Tower of Doom, I can't remember. But eventually Zayn did a suicide dive to Neville on the outside. He went flying right into the crowd, and then Sami Zayn hit a haluva kick on Kidd, and then Neville put the ref out, and the guy says Neville and Zayn had a what the fuck stare down. Neville laid Zayn out with a super kick, then Neville won with the red arrow. It was really good. Also, there was a point where Neville did the shooting star press. They called it the red arrow, but he looked like he caught Tyson Kidd as well, who was like kneeled over or something. I don't know. It wasn't a good camera angle, but like on the other cameras in the replay, you could see that he was sort of bent over. So it looks like his legs caught Tyson Kidd, and then he got Sami Zayn. So, but yeah, there was so many awesome moments, and it could have went to any of them, but I think it looks like Neville's going to turn heel, and then Neville and Thingy will feud. Maybe we'll see Tyler Breeze and Kidd feud. I don't know what will happen next, but it should be good, should be interesting, because NXT is the best show in the WWE right now. Fact. It'd be good to see what's going to happen next. So tell me your thoughts on NXT TakeOver 2, NXT TakeOver Fatal 4-Way, I think is its official title. I really loved it. But like I said, I had like 6 hours of bloody wrestling I watched today. But SmackDown and Superstars was really quite good this week, especially SmackDown. I was surprised at how much I enjoyed it. Like none of the matches were like too long, which was good, and they weren't too short either. And they were all good. Like the Miz and Mizdow, oh my god, versus Ziggler and R Ziggler is just so funny. Like just like comedy gold. Really, it was really good. I'm loving the Miz and Mizdow. It's really good. But Dolph Ziggler and R Ziggler, which is R-Truth, he's dressed as Dolph Ziggler and like doing his moves and stuff. And like when they went backstage, they did like a promo thing where like R-Truth was sort of speaking like Dolph Ziggler, like the kind of promos he does. It was good. Like it was really good. Good stuff. And Superstars has been good as well. The last 2 weeks, like last week, there was a match with Sin Cara and Justin Gabriel, which in my opinion was the match of the entire week. It was so good to see like a high flying kind of match, like cruiserweights, because you just don't see that much anymore. And it was really good to see stuff like that. And then they had a rematch this week. Justin Gabriel was it was still a good sort of high flying kind of match. Justin Gabriel was sort of more heelish and sort of wearing him down, but there's still some good moments, and Justin Gabriel eventually won it, and he now can do the 450 splash to the guy in the middle of the ring, which is pretty crazy. But hopefully they maybe have some more matches in the future. But Sin Cara is on, like, maybe he'll be more NXT now with Kalisto, and so I don't know what will happen there. But I definitely recommend you check this out. This is really good. What else was I going to say? I was going to say something else. I don't know if I mentioned at the start, but what do you think of the background music? I'm looking at like doing more background music when I make these videos, these like talking videos, reviews and stuff. I'm just sort of looking for sort of like nothing too like crazy or whatever, just something sort of like in the background, nothing too distracting. Tell me what you think. I've got a few songs downloaded right now, but obviously royalty free stuff. I had to work today, which sucked. It's a Saturday, by the way. It's only 7 until 11, 4 hours. But it kind of sucked. Cause this is my day today and tomorrow is usually my day where I catch up from my sleep. Usually I've been sleeping for like 12 hours the last couple of weekends. But I did get an alright sort of sleep, so I fell asleep watching the NXT preview thing last night for 2-3 hours, and then I was sleeping again at like 2, so I got like 7 hours or something, so it wasn't too bad. But it looks like I'm going to have to work on Tuesday night, which means it'll be the first time since like maybe this year that I've had to work a Tuesday, which means I won't get Raw watched until Wednesday. And Wednesday's usually the day where I catch up with sleep, because I usually watch Raw on the Tuesday, but now that won't happen. So it sucks, because there's like stuff that needs to get done at work, so it really sucks. So less sleep for me, and apparently it might even be starting earlier as well, which means even less sleep for me. So it sucks, it really sucks. But I'll persevere. I'll get through it. All I have to do is believe. But anyways, tell me your thoughts on NXT TakeOver. I've rambled on here for longer than probably I should have, but it was so good. It was so good. I love it. I love NXT. I probably would have enjoyed it even more if I hadn't been so tired and I hadn't already watched like 3 hours of bloody wrestling, or if I'd watched it live. But I don't. The WWE Network isn't good live for me. I don't like it if it freezes or stuff. It tends to do that, and I can't stand that. So if it aired like as a pay-per-view on like Sky Live instead of like it doesn't air until like today at like 11:30 at night here in the UK, but it'll be heavily edited and shit, so I can't stand that crap. Which is why I have the network, because I hate the international versions. Too much edits. But like pay-per-views, I just buy them if you have to buy them, or they're usually sometimes free on Sky Sports. But I prefer quality over, I don't know. I prefer the quality. Like I can pause it with Sky instead of. I can pause it here on the network, but it tends to mess up. I tried it with like the pre-shows, and that tends to mess up when they're live, and I end up having to watch them on YouTube or whatever later. So yeah, that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed my NXT TakeOver Fail Forward review. It was a really good show, and I'll see you next week for the Night of Champions, which will probably be nowhere near as good as is NXT TakeOver, because NXT is awesome, baby. But yeah, that's it. I don't really know what else to say. Be sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel. Give that like button some love, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.